Instead, it is the gateway to endless possibilities. These words by Leonardo da Vinci is the cornerstone of this virtual international conference. Good afternoon, everybody. It is my absolute honor to welcome our college principal, Dr. Father John PJ, Vice Principal, Dr. Sister Sonia Kurian, Father Johnny Pandit, academics, sisters, track and charges, HODs, academicians, research scholars, and students to the virtual international conference on transforming knowledge, a multidisciplinary research on integrative learning across disciplines. Today's event promises to be a platform for deep discussion, thought-provoking ideas, and collaborative innovation. With this in mind, we gather today virtually to embrace new perspectives, foster collaborations, and unlock the power of integrative learnings across disciplines. The Bhopal School of Social Sciences, BSS, as it is better known, is a leading institution known for its academic excellence and pragmatic approach to research. As we explore today's theme of transforming knowledge, a multidisciplinary research on integrative learning across disciplines, it is essential to reflect on the institution that has made this event possible. We are proud to share a brief documentary that highlights the college's journey, its commitment to academic excellence, and its dedication to fostering a culture of interdisciplinary research and learning. Let's take a few minutes to watch and be inspired by the story of the college.
The Bhopal School of Social Sciences, popularly known as BSSS, was established in 1972 by the Archdiocese of Bhopal as part of the vision of our founder chairman, Archbishop Eugene D'Souza. This vision since then has been taken forward by Archbishop Pascal Topno, followed by Archbishop Leo Cornelio. The college is all set to achieve new milestones under the able leadership of the Archbishop of Bhopal, His Grace Reverend Dr. A.A.S. Durairaj, and the principal, Dr. Father John P.J. BSSS is an autonomous institution affiliated to the Barkatullah University, enlisted under sections 2F and 12B of the UGC Act with A+ grade, having the motto, "Towards a better world." The major programs we offer are in humanities, English, psychology, social work, economics, management, commerce, science, computer sciences, education and physical education. We also offer 10 PG programs in subjects like English, economics, sociology, political science, psychology, computer science, social work, commerce, MBA and PGDCA. We have a strong student support system. Indigenous certificate and diploma courses are designed by the college to add value to existing degree programs, thereby supplementing the degree courses with additional qualifications and promoting interdisciplinary learning. Our best practices include Rhythm, an online international radio with a reach of 32 countries and a maximum of 53,000 listeners a day as of now, and Dev Aharam, through which we serve a meal to AIMS patients. The distinctive practices include Earn While You Learn, which enables students to become self-reliant by involving them in various commission projects and research studies with incentives. The BSSS Incubation Center is an approved host institute under the scheme of Support for Entrepreneurial and Management Development of MSMEs through incubators of the Ministry of MSME, Government of India. Foreign collaborations with various universities in the US, the UK, Bangkok and European Union countries have prepared the students for a global culture of academics and in obtaining certificates and degrees. We pride ourselves on our environment-friendly 20-acre campus, infrastructure and facilities, which include an expansive library enriched with e-resources, well-equipped research, science and language labs, air-conditioned seminar and conference halls, Skype conference room, a state-of-the-art air-conditioned auditorium which is used for academic, cultural and sports events, as well as a recording and broadcasting studio. Inclusivity is our strength, and we take pride in standing tall for promoting inclusivity in society. We have an LMS learning system and self-developed e-content with more than 1,000 edited videos on various subjects pertaining to the courses run by the college. We also have proactive NCC and NSS wings. The Pedal Club and adventurous trips to the peaks of India's untouched lands make students enthusiastic and determined, purposeful and persevering. True to our vision to be a benchmark higher education institution of excellence, empowering future leaders by transforming knowledge to affirmative action, the alumni are a pride to the college and to the nation as they go forth to make their contribution towards a better world.
Towards a better world, as the motto of the college stands, this international conference is an idea to promote towards a better world. The college has carved its niche in various domains with hard work and is one of the leading colleges in the central India. Let us commence the conference with the ceremonial lighting of the lamp. Although virtual, this act symbolizes enlightenment and the pursuit of knowledge. Let us take a moment to mark the beginning of this auspicious occasion with a small prayer in our heart. A good leader is someone who allows his team members to grow, gives space to work, encourages, appreciates, and finally takes the responsibility. To officially welcome everyone to the conference, I now invite Dr. Father John PJ, Principal of the college, to deliver the welcome address.
Good afternoon to one and all. Our chief guest, Dr. Sister Jessie Fernando, Principal St. Mary's Autonomous College, Thuthukudi, Tamil Nadu. Expert for the day, Professor Ashish Srivastav, Dean, Academic Research, BHU. All the panelists present, all the participants, once again a good afternoon. With the introduction of NEP, National Education Policy, I think there has been a boost and thrust for interdisciplinary learning. I remember students opting courses from across the disciplines available and prevalent. And it is the thrust of the new policy. This research, as I understand, a multidisciplinary research can also contribute and felicitate to this new mode of learning that I think the government and our educational system envisage for. We have a number of papers that have come in from various disciplines and then reviewed and will be published tomorrow in the form of books. And higher education without research remain fruitless, senseless, because we are the ones to research, to study, and to set trend for the coming time. So seminars, workshops, and learnings like this, I believe, would bring in a lot more novelty to the existing educational system. I congratulate the entire team, Dr. Laila and her team, for organizing such a wonderful seminar on transforming knowledge, because we need to keep on changing, investigating, and also researching on the resources that we have for knowledge. I am very happy today that we have number of experts with us as our chief guest, with whom we have already an MOU. The President of St. Mary's Autonomous College, Thoothukudi, Dr. Sister Jessie Fernando. Sister, we are extremely happy that you have joined us today for this inaugural program, and we keep seeking your support, blessings for the day to come. Most welcome.
Sure, Father.
We have also our expert speaker today, Professor Ashish Srivastava. Sir, we are happy that you took your time out to be with us this afternoon to make up this program more meaningful with your insights, your views on this particular discipline.
Thank you.
All the upcoming panelists, upcoming sessions, we have number of panelists mentioned. We will be interested, and I'm very sure it will be useful from your part to be contributing to this program in the time to come. I welcome once again all of you all wholeheartedly to the inaugural and this one-day long sessions to come. Thank you and have a wonderful, good afternoon.
Thank you so much, Father. To provide us with a deeper understanding of today's theme and objectives, I now invite the conference convener, Professor Laila Simon, to speak about the conference. Dr. Laila has been instrumental in conceptualizing and organizing this event. Dr. Laila Simon.
Thank you, Sheena. Distinguished guests, esteemed participants, and colleagues. It is with immense pride and excitement that I welcome you all to this international conference on transforming knowledge, a multidisciplinary research on integrative learning across disciplines. Our conference is a testament to the power of collaboration and the transformative potential of multidisciplinary research, bringing together over more than 700 participants across 65 cities from 20 states and 10 nations. The articles submitted have been processed with the highest ethical standards in mind. Every submission was carefully reviewed to ensure the integrity of research and the quality of work presented. This year, we mark a significant milestone as we take a bold step forward in academic publishing. I'm also truly honored to place on official records that for the first time in the history of our conference, we are releasing books online complete with ISBN and DOI numbers. This initiative ensures that the knowledge and research shared in this forum are not only preserved but also widely accessible to the scholars, researchers, and practitioners across the globe. As a result of this rigorous process, we are thrilled to announce the release of 5 books that would happen during the valedictory session, each representing the excellence and diversity of thought explored during the event. This is a proud moment for all of us, and none of this would have been possible without your dedication and hard work. As we continue with the sessions, I encourage you to engage deeply with the discussions, share your thoughts, and build lasting connections. Together, we are helping to transform knowledge and advance the future of learning across disciplines. Through these insightful sessions, we are not just broadening our own fields of expertise, but also building connections and fostering innovations that transcend traditional academic boundaries. Thank you once again for all your contributions, and I look forward for inspiring sessions ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Laila. It is my privilege to introduce our plenary speaker, Professor Ashish Srivastav, Dean of Academics and Research at IUCTE BHU. Professor Ashish Srivastav is a distinguished academic leader and a respected figure among students and scholars in higher education. He is a professor of higher education, policy, and Dean of Academic and Research at the Inter-University Center for Teacher Education, IUCTE at Banaras Hindu University, an autonomous center under the University Grants Commission in Varanasi. An alumnus of the University of Lucknow and Devi Ahilya Vishwavidyalaya, Indore, Professor Srivastav has held foundational roles at renowned institutions, including Vishwabharati, a central university, and an institution of national importance in Shantiniketan, West Bengal, and Mahatma Gandhi Central University in Champaran, Bihar, where he served as Dean of the School of Education. Professor Srivastav is associated with over 80 institutions across India in various advisory, governance, and academic roles, contributing extensively to national and state educational bodies, including UGC, ICSSR, NCTE, and NCRT, etc. His expertise has also been sought by the governments of Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Odisha, Punjab, and Uttarakhand. He has served on executive and academic councils, planning and monitoring bodies, and board of studies and school boards across multiple central universities and prestigious institutions. His research involvement includes projects funded by ICSSR, Ministry of Education, and various other bodies focusing on critical educational issues. A prolific speaker, Professor Srivastav has delivered over 800 lectures across 120 institutions in higher and school education, covering various topics. His extensive scholarly contributions includes numerous publications, address contemporary educational issues and philosophies. He is a recipient of Maya Gold Foundation Award of the United States of America for excellence and service as a young academic leader. Professor Srivastav's work continues to shape and enrich India's educational landscape, underscoring his impact as a transformative figure in the field of education. Without any further ado, I would request Professor Ashish Srivastav for his.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Before I begin, just let me know whether I'm audible and visible enough.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, thank you so much. At the outset, let me express my heartfelt thanks to this wonderful institution, the Bhopal School of Social Sciences. And therefore, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the father principal of this wonderful college, Dr. Leela Simon, and my very dear friend, Dr. Sheena Thomas, for giving me this learning opportunity, and all my learned colleagues from different higher education institutions across the globe. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Let me begin with a congratulations, because the kind of theme you have kept Transforming Knowledge, a multidisciplinary research on integrative learning across disciplines, as a well identified, well needed theme for this conference. What Father Principal was mentioning in his welcome note, that national education policy, the major intent, the major push, the major focus is on multidisciplinarity, as mentioned by Father Principal. And one more thing I would like to quote from his welcome address is, which I am articulating in my words, that teaching and research is having symbiotic relationship. Teaching and research is having symbiotic relationship. Now, these two premises I will be using to deliberate my understanding with you. Those who know me, they know that I don't read any document, and I don't use the copied and pasted PowerPoint presentation. So I will be sharing my observations, my experience, my insights with you. And if you will be having any concerns, we will be taking it at the end of the session. Let me begin with a meaningful and relevant line quoted by Professor Mudaliar Sahab. And when I'm saying Professor Mudaliar Sahab, I need your attention, because this is Bhopal School of Social Sciences, a wonderful school, serious school, and dedicated towards the So I need your attention on this statement, which was mentioned by Professor Mudaliar in 1952-53. When I'm saying 52-53, I am recalling here the Secondary Education Commission's report. Now, in that report, Professor Mudaliar Sahab has mentioned, and I'm quoting verbatim, a democracy of people who can think only confusedly can neither make progress nor even maintain itself, because it will always be open to the risk of being misled by demagogues. A democracy of people who can think only confusedly can neither make progress nor even maintain itself, because it will always be open to the risk of being misled by demagogues. Why I am quoting? Because we are standing in 2025 today. And these lines were written by Professor Mudaliar in 1952-53. Why he has written these lines? Because he wanted to structure education system in such a way where logical thinking, sense of reasoning, scientific temper can be inculcated in the students of country. Now let me share two concerns, and again I congratulate to keep this important, very important theme. And unfortunately, my dear friends, my dear colleagues, unfortunately, and this I am sharing from my own experience, I don't want to hurt anyone, but my experience says, from Jammu Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Nagaland to Kutch, a large number of faculty members of higher education institutions have not gone through the policy document yet, till date, even after passing 4.5 years, which is only of 60 pages. I am saying 60 pages because I'm not counting the index and glossary and different fillers. So only 60 pages document. A large number of direct stakeholder of higher education have not gone through the policy document. And what concern was raised by Father Principal is a genuine concern that multidisciplinarity, and keeping this theme for this conference, and I'm very happy to say this theme. So now I'm sharing two concerns here, and which is very important for all of us to understand so far as theme of the conference is concerned. Concern number one: regardless of what language students are taught in, the biggest challenge confronting the education system in India is its obsession. Obsession for what? Obsession with mastering examinations through rote learning. Irrespective of language, whatever they are being taught. This is first concern. Second concern I will be keeping here: Indian education system operates like a sorting mechanism, having major concern of completing the prescribed syllabus than mastery over subject. than mastery over subject. When I'm sharing these two concerns, let me recall here a great philosopher, great thinker, great personality from Tamil Nadu, Thiruvalluvar. Thiruvalluvar. I don't know how many of you have heard this name, Thiruvalluvar. And I'm quoting one statement from his very wonderful book, Thirukural. I'm quoting one small statement. And before quoting that statement, let me remind you the timeline of Thiruvalluvar, 200 years before Christ. So he is writing in Thirukural, let a human being learn thoroughly whatever he may learn. Let a human being learn thoroughly whatever he may learn or she may learn, and let his conduct be worthy of his learning. And let his conduct be worthy of his learning. This was the concern mentioned by Thiruvalluvar 200 years before Christ. Let a human being learn thoroughly whatever he or she may learn, and let his or her conduct be worthy of his learning. If we can concentrate on these two aspects of this single statement, you will be finding that entire multidisciplinarity and holistic education is being referred in National Education Policy 2020 document, which has been shared by Thiruvalluvar long back. Now, in sitting in India, we can say with all confidence, with all evidence, that we all are aware of different concerns of education, different goals, aims, avenues of education, which were shared to us long back, thousands years back. It is not that we have labeled 21st century as the century of knowledge and we are becoming concerned for the education. It is not that we have identified education in the community as an index of human development and we are becoming concerned for education. Why I am saying this? Because last few months back, I was interacting in one of the universities on multidisciplinarity. One vice session got over, one professor asked that, sir, we are number one university who have implemented NEP 2020. I said, very good, congratulations. Then he said, sir, we have implemented the multidisciplinarity also. I said, very good, congratulations. Then he asked that, sir, since we have implemented, somebody got unmuted. Yeah. So then he asked that, sir, since we have implemented multidisciplinarity, there is an agitation among the students. So I said, agitation? Why agitation? So then he said, what you did in, then I asked what you did in multidisciplinarity, in implementing multidisciplinarity. Then he replied that we have given a combination of subjects to the students. So then I said, let me correct your statement, whether you have given the subject combination of subjects or student have chosen the combination of subjects. And if you understand the subject difference between this giving and selecting, you cannot understand multidisciplinarity, because when you give, you impose. When students select, then they make their learning basket. So as a faculty member, as a teacher, as a stakeholder of higher education, what we are supposed to do, we are supposed to make an institutional frame where we can keep number of choices, keeping in view the maximum potential of our institutions. So that is why I share this concern, because then many of the stakeholders from Jammu Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Nagaland to Kutch, I am saying this, from Jammu Kashmir to Kanyakumari, Nagaland to Kutch, a great number of higher education stakeholders who is having understanding that multidisciplinarity is something new which has been brought by NEP 2020, while the fact is multidisciplinarity is a concept which we have already exemplified. Multidisciplinarity is a concept which we have already lived. So that is why the prominent institutions like Bhopal School of Social Sciences are organizing this program, and it's giving a kind of great motivation to me, at least. One more thing I would like to quote here, and this I will be quoting using Professor Kothari. And when I'm saying Professor Kothari, I'm sure because Institute of Social Science, I'm sure you must be knowing Indian Education Commission, which was chaired by Professor Kothari. Now, in the report of Professor Kothari's report, Education and National Development, And I'm telling you the reference because this is a long paragraph. I'm not going to read all the paragraph, but I'm sharing 2 lines from that paragraph, and I'm telling you the reference so that you can read the entire paragraph. Section 1.16 I'm quoting now. Section 1.16 I am quoting. In section 1.16, a long paragraph, Professor Kothari is writing the naive belief that all education is necessarily good, both for the individual and for the society, and that it will necessarily lead to progress, can be as harmful as it is misplaced. And I believe that Bhopal Institute of Social Science like institutions can understand the essence of this statement written by Professor Kothari. I am repeating once again. The naive belief that all education is necessarily good, both for individual and for society, and that it will necessarily lead to progress, can be as harmful as it is misplaced. When Professor Kothari is writing this statement, he is further writing that quantitatively education can be organized to promote social justice or to retard it, and he has justified this statement. So multidisciplinarity is a very important aspect, which at least we need to implement it later in the spirit. Why? Because the kind of demographic dividend we are having nowadays, India is a country of youth today. When India is a country of youth today, Japan is a country of old today. Now the question comes whether India will remain the country of youth always, forever. We all know the answer. No. It is a cyclic process. Today, India is a country of youth. And therefore, bringing multidisciplinarity in the curriculum, in the pedagogy, in the assessment, in the researches, we will be in a position to capitalize, to cultivate this demographic dividend. And until and unless we are going to cultivate and capitalize this demographic dividend, whatever big dream we are dreaming, we cannot achieve this. Nowadays, we are focusing that we are following like anything that India will be a Vishwaguru again. I am not at all a pessimistic person. I am not saying that India cannot be a Vishwaguru again, but I will be highlighting very clearly and categorically it is a very difficult task. Why I am saying so? Because in order to be a Vishwaguru, we need to cross world class. That means we need to be world class first. In order to be world class, we need to be national class pessimistic. In order to be a national class, we need to be a state class again. But in order to be a state class, I will be highlighting very clearly and categorically. While majority of institutions are not. Why I am saying so? Because multidisciplinarity. In order to be a Vishwaguru, we need to cross world class. That means we need to be world class relationship. In order to be multidisciplinary, not a learning process. In order to be a national class, research is going to again. But in order to be state class, I will be highlighting very university category. While majority of things, it is not that Ashish Why I am saying so because it has been mentioned by multidisciplinary as father principle. In order to be a Vishwaguru, we need to welcome world class. And as we mentioned by in order to be multidisciplinary, not a learning process. When I in order to be a national class, research is going to but in order to be state, I will be highlighting very university category. While majority of things, it is not that Ashish why I am saying so because university education has been mentioned by multidisciplinary education. In order to get Vishwaguru, we need to welcome world class. And as one class has written in order to be multi-area category, not quoting workers. When I not able to universities, is writing, but in order to I will be highlighting university as the it is not that Ashish why I am saying so because university has been mentioned by multidisciplinary university. In order to get Vishwaguru, welcome world class. And with the increasing quantity of multi-area and its universities is writing, but in order to have I changed and it is not that university has been mentioned by university. In order to get with the increasing quantity and its universities policies is writing, but in order to have I changed and it is not that it has mentioned some name of interesting institutions. This scholar from any institution with the increasing quantity and its in order to make has mentioned by I changed that it has mentioned where name of interesting institutions. This scholar from any institution with the increasing quantity and medicine, engineering, and even pharmacy, just additional education, if you look at social sciences, it has where I say my medical scientific degree, there were institutions in the field of life, ये मुझे कोई पढ़ना तो नहीं है, medicine, engineering, and even pharmacy, just additional education, if you look at social sciences, to save it has where and when I call this, let me remind you that institutions in the field of life, it says today as we talk medicine, engineering, and even pharmacy, now if you look at because it can just go save research, let me remind you and when I call this, let me remind you that institutions in the field of life, it says today as we talk medicine, and I am Delhi, I was having in Multidisciplinary Research, and one point because I can just use say that let me remind you when I call this, let me remind you that institutions in the field of life, it says one day as we talk which status has already presented by that newspaper. The caption was Tiger in graduate, rat in research. Tiger in graduate, rat in research. This was the caption of a prominent newspaper, which that newspaper described the entire caption of higher education institution after QS 2015-19. There are three concerns in research. Multidisciplinarity can answer this concern along with a prompt governance. So three concerns, I often quote these concerns in all my deliberations across the country. Three concerns. Concern number one, which is very important concern, is systemic concern. Systemic concern. Systemic concern. Because we are now going to focus on multidisciplinarity in researches also. So systemic concern. And when I'm saying systemic concern, what does it mean? When I'm saying systemic concern, it refers to the governance. It refers to the resources. And when I'm saying this, let me remind you a lecture delivered by Bharat Ratna Professor C.N.R. Rao Sahab. That lecture was delivered at NEPA. NEPA has documented this lecture, has uploaded on its website. You can download and you can read this lecture, where Professor C.N.R. Rao Sahab is saying very clearly and categorically, he is saying that even my alma mater, this is what Professor C.N.R. Rao Sahab is saying, even my alma mater, which is BHU, is in worst shape so far as experiments in chemistry is concerned, because of governance and resources. So systemic concern is one. Number two is individual concern, which is the biggest concern. Individual concern, biggest concern. When I'm saying biggest concern for two reasons. When I was in Shanti Niketan, I did one survey, and in that survey, I selected 100 PhD awardee candidates who have been awarded their PhD in last 1 year. And when I interacted 100 scholars, those who were awarded their PhD in last 1 year, out of 100, 93 scholars could not explain the PhD title itself. That means the variable of their title if it was quantitative, the holistic situation of the title if it was qualitative. So individual, and that is why in India we can see demand supply mismatch. For last 5-6 years in selection committees, I can easily feel the kind of disaster we have made so far as research is concerned, and national education policies is representing this worry in its document itself. So individual concern. Why individual concern? Because it relates to competence. It relates to lack of understanding on concepts, basic concepts, lack of understanding on basic concepts. And this I am sharing from my own experience by evaluating the projects at UGC, ICSSR, and different funding agencies. So lack of understanding of basic concepts, lack of ethics, work culture, professionalism, and and top of that, we have been groomed in such a regimented way. If I recall my childhood, I when I passed class 8th and I was about to take admission in class 9th, I went to my mother, my father, my neighbor, my uncle, my auntie, which side I should go: science side, art side, commerce side, this side, that side. So we have been groomed in such regimented way, and in this regimented with this regimented mind, understanding multidisciplinarity, adopting multidisciplinarity, executing multidisciplinarity is a challenge. And therefore, we need to think out of the box. So, individual concern. And the third concern, which is very, very, very prominent, imminent, and relevant concern, that is linguistic concern. Linguistic concern. Linguistic concern. Why linguistic concern? Because in from Jammu Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Nagaland to Kutch, what I have witnessed is that for us, language is more important than idea. For us, language is more important than idea. While what I personally preach is idea is more important than language. If you have idea, you can get this idea, that idea translated into as many languages as you want. But unfortunately, in India, in many universities where I am associated in any manner, I have witnessed that for us language is more important than idea. अंग्रेजी में बोलोगे तभी काम होगा, हिंदी में बोलोगे तभी काम होगा. दिस ये सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी यहाँ अंग्रेजी में बोलना है, ये स्टेट यूनिवर्सिटी यहाँ हिंदी में बोलना है, ये रीजनल यूनिवर्सिटी है यहाँ रीजनल लैंग्वेज में बोलना है. दिस इज द कंसर्न, लिंग्विस्टिक कंसर्न. So I don't know because how much time I'm having, Dr. Sina?
So,
5 minutes.
yeah, sir, you can conclude within 5 minutes, sir.
Okay, fine. So, I'm sure you can recall the budget proposal submitted by the finance minister of 2016-17, where he made one announcement that central government is set to establish 20 world-class universities, 10 in public sector, 10 in private sector. Now, if you look at the reason behind such announcement, you will be finding again the QS world ranking, where none of the Indian institution could make its place in top 200. While many universities from Japan, from China, from South Korea, from Hong Kong, from Taiwan, from Singapore, from Malaysia could make its place. And this was the time, 16, 17, 18, this was the time when we can recall the expressions of anguish by Pranab Mukherjee ji, by APJ Abdul Kalam Sahab, and many more. And this was the time when Niti Aayog came into the picture. Why I'm mentioning this important aspect? Because for multidisciplinarity, this is an important dimension to think. So Niti Aayog then came into the picture, and Niti Aayog was of the opinion to grant total autonomy to our institutions of proven quality and credibility, so that they can transform themselves on the innovative pathways to attain global heights and recognition. And to achieve this, multidisciplinarity is one of the very important indicator and parameter. Now I will be using two statement I'm sharing here, which may seem like contradictory, but when you will be listening it carefully, you will be understanding the spirit. We need to understand very clearly and categorically that institutions of excellence, my dear friends, institutions of excellence are not created by any government anywhere in the world. Institutions of excellence are not created by any government anywhere in the world. Fully autonomous organizations, with or without, it may be with, it may be without, with or without government funding, in course of time emerge as institution of excellence. And teaching learning process, governance and research are the important characteristics. Now, so far as the important theme is concerned, I come from education department, and I find many immense potential: TVET, STEAM, Education 4.0, Green ICT, economics of education, financing education, curriculum, pedagogy, assessment, inclusive education, governance, many areas where we can come up with this multidisciplinary research. My dear friends, my dear colleagues, I will be concluding my deliberation in the words of uh, famous English critic T.S. Eliot, who says, "Where is the wisdom we have lost in knowledge? Where is the wisdom we have lost in knowledge? Where is the knowledge we have lost in information? The cycle of even in 20th century bring us farther from God and nearer to dust." And therefore, my dear friends, from data to information to knowledge to wisdom, from data to information to knowledge to wisdom, if we can ensure this travel, I think we will be in a position to achieve everything. Thank you so much, this wonderful institution, Dr. Sina Thomas, for giving me this learning opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for this insightful plenary talk. I think we have set the tone for a very good virtual international conference. Next, we move on to the address by the chief guest. It's my honor to introduce our esteemed chief guest, Dr. Sister Jessie Fernando, Principal, St. Mary's Autonomous College, Thoothukudi. Dr. Fernando is a distinguished scholar with a specialization in solid state physics, a field that has seen remarkable advancements under her expertise. Her dedication to academic excellence is reflected in her impressive portfolio, having published several research papers in various international Scopus Index journals. Dr. Fernando's work has made significant contributions to the scientific community, showcasing her commitment to pushing the boundaries of knowledge. We are truly privileged to have her with us today. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Sister Jessie Fernando to address the conference. Dr. Sister Jessie Fernando. We are truly privileged to have her with us today. Please join me in
So, good afternoon,
welcoming
everyone.
Dr. Sister Jessie Fernando
Uh,
to address
am
the
I audible?
conference. Yes, yes. Dr. Sister
Yes?
Jessie Fernando. Yes, sister, yes.
Okay, thank you. So, respected principal, committed organizers, honorable resource persons, esteemed scholars, and distinguished delegates. It's an immense honor for me to address today at this prestigious international conference on multidisciplinary research on integrative learning across disciplines. This gathering is a true testament to your collective commitment to bridging knowledge across fields, fostering innovation, and shaping a future where learning transcends traditional academic boundaries. I greatly appreciate the organizers and the management, especially the principal of Bhopal School of Social Sciences, for promoting research across many disciplines, for it brings forth collective, integrated growth among researchers, which in turn strengthens the globe in a constructive way. I'm really overwhelmed with joy on seeing an overview of your college campus, the infrastructure, and the activities, which is, I'm sure, is in line with the required standards of higher education institutions. Well, the world we live in today is complex, interconnected, and rapidly evolving. Challenges such as climate change, public health crisis, technological disruptions, and social inequalities do not exist in silos. They require holistic, interdisciplinary approaches that integrate knowledge from diverse domains. This is where integrative learning becomes not just beneficial, but essential. Integrative learning encourages us to draw connections between disciplines, blending insights from the sciences, humanities, engineering, and arts to develop well-rounded solutions. It nurtures critical thinking, adaptability, and creativity, skills that are indispensable for the 21st century. As researchers, educators, and leaders, we have the responsibility to create frameworks that foster interdisciplinary collaboration. We must break down barriers between disciplines, encourage dialogues, and inspire the next generation of scholars to think beyond conventional academic concerns. This conference serves as a dynamic platform for exchanging ideas, exploring new research methodologies, and forging collaborations that will drive meaningful change. The papers and discussions we presented here will surely contribute to shaping a global academic landscape where integrative learning is not just an aspiration, but a fundamental approach to education and research. So let us use this opportunity to challenge existing paradigms, reimagine education, and contribute to building a world where knowledge serves as a unifying force rather than a dividing line. I was really taken up by the huge number of subtitles to be handled in different tracks these 2 days. This shows the commitment and the hard work behind this conference, which calls for a holistic growth, empowering and revolutionizing the system for a leap towards greater heights. I would like to say a few words on one such sub-themes: positive psychology, emotional intelligence, and artificial intelligence in modern education. In this era of complexity, academic and professional success is no longer defined solely by technical expertise or subject-specific knowledge. Instead, it is shaped by a combination of emotional resilience, psychological well-being, and technological adaptability. That is why the integration of positive psychology, emotional intelligence, and artificial intelligence into learning and leadership is not just timely, it is necessary. Positive psychology shifts our focus from merely addressing deficiencies to enhancing strengths and well being. It teaches us that resilience, optimism, and a growth mindset are as important as cognitive skills in achieving success. By incorporating positive psychology into education and workplace strategies, we create environments that nurture creativity, motivation, and fulfillment. Emotional intelligence plays a crucial role in shaping effective leaders, empathetic educators, and innovative thinkers. The ability to recognize, understand, and regulate emotions not only enhances personal well being, but also strengthens collaboration and decision making. In a world where diversity and inclusion are paramount, emotional intelligence allows individuals to build meaningful relationships, navigate challenges with emotional agility, and lead with empathy. And then artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the way we learn, work, and interact. From personalized learning systems to artificial intelligence driven mental health interventions, technology is enhancing our ability to develop holistically. However, AI should not replace human intelligence, but rather complement and augment it. The challenge before us is to integrate AI responsibly, ensuring that it aligns with ethical values, emotional intelligence, and human centric development. The convergence of these disciplines, positive psychology, emotional intelligence, and AI, presents an unprecedented opportunity for holistic growth. Our role as researchers, educators, and leaders is to design learning models that foster psychological well being and resilience alongside intellectual growth. We must equip individuals with emotional intelligence to thrive in an increasingly interconnected world. Leverage AI to personalize and enhance learning experiences without losing the human touch. As we embark on this conference, let us embrace a vision where education and research transcends traditional disciplines. Let us integrate the power of mind, emotions, and technology to build a future that values both humanity and innovation. Together, we have the potential to redefine learning, leadership, and well being for generations to come. So, let this conference be the beginning of good ideas, collaborations, and strategies that will empower individuals, institutions, and societies to reach their full potential. Let me once again congratulate the management and the organizers for arranging such academic potential conferences for the good of the researchers and the society at large. Wishing you all the very best. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sister, for those insightful words. We now move on to one of the most anticipated segments of the conference, that is the panel discussion. This session will provide an engaging platform for our experts to share insightful ideas and discuss the evolving landscape of multidisciplinary research. Moderating the discussion is Dr. Laila Simon, a distinguished academician and the conference convener. Dr. Simon's expertise and dynamic approach makes her the perfect guide for this thought provoking conversation. Without any further ado, I hand it over to Dr. Laila Simon to lead the panel discussion.
Thank you, Sheena. I hopefully my panelists are there all on board. Once again, good evening to all. And we have the experts as Dr. John Clammer, who is a professor originally from Europe and spent most of his professional life in Asia. He did his DPhil degree in social anthropology at Oxford. He has taught in the Center for Southeast Asian Studies at Hull University, UK, University of Singapore, Sophia University, Tokyo, and United Nations University. He has been a visiting professor at Oxford, the Australian National University, then Kent, University of Kent, Warwick University, the University of Buenos Aires, and most recently distinguished visiting professor on 2 occasions at Kyoto University. As an author for more than 20 books, his current research is on sociology of the arts in India, solidarity and social economy, ecological ethics, bioaesthetics, and human-animal relationship, and is currently professor of sociology in the School of Liberal Arts and Humanities at Jindal Global University, Delhi. May I have you, sir? Very good evening.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the introduction.
Dr. Preeti Oza, who's working as principal at Ladhe Devi Ramdhar Maheshwari Knight College of Commerce, University of Mumbai. She holds 2 PhD degrees in the areas of marginal and protest literature. She has been a trainer at the Oxford Program Teaching Professor 2022 for Bingham Young University, USA. She has completed her postdoc in ICI Fellowship on Religion and Culture in Asia, which the University of Hong Kong sponsored. Dr. Preeti has published books on higher education, comparative religion, and comparative literature. She is currently working on interreligious studies, marginal literature, and emancipation writings. She works in the areas of Dalit studies, Buddhist movement, marginal literature, higher education, skill development through language acquisition. Good evening, ma'am. May I have you on board? She works in the areas of Dalit studies,
Thank you.
movement, marginal literature, higher education. We also have Sarika, ma'am, who's Good evening, ma'am. May I have you? Who is traveling? She is associated with Coady Institute as a program teaching staff member, Canada, leading our global women's leadership programming. She is a part of the autonomous women's movement in India and was most recently one of the directors of Action Aid International, in addition to being a lead on women's rights. Dr. Sarika ma'am is actually traveling. She is one person who has been Clevening Scholar and has studied at the London School of Economics, from which she holds an MSc in Gender, Development and Globalization. Very good evening, ma'am. I hope you are there on board.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm very much here.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. We also are joined by Mrs. Nadeja Zikovic, Associate Professor from Synergy University, Moscow, and leading lecturer at the International Department. May I have you, ma'am, please? Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you very much. Hello from Moscow, from cold Moscow.
Thank you so much. We are also joined by Dr. Teshome Mektona, postgraduate coordinated at Adigrat University, Ethiopia. Teshome, you've been joining at right 2 o'clock with us. Thank you so much for that connect. May I have you on board? Very good evening.
Very good evening, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So it's a first question thrown to each panelist, and we would like to have a general take on this area, what are some of the biggest challenges in implementing
Very good evening,
multidisciplinary
Ma.
research
Thank you very
in
much.
educational institutions? This is with reference to the country that you are associated with. I think Madam Sarika can start with, or Madam Preeti Oza. I find ready. So, yes.
Yes, I can I can certainly start. If Dr. Preeti isn't, uh,
Ma'am, you please start. Ma'am Sarika, you say?
thank you so much. Thank you so much, and thank you to the wonderful organizers of this very esteemed organization for having me. I also see it's a very beautifully diverse panel, so I'm sure we are going to all each learn and unlearn a lot. I want to begin by talking about my institute, which is a part of the St. Francis Xavier University. And what I find very unique about the institution is that we, on a priority basis, train and work with people who are from the dispossessed communities across the globe. So it's not a typically academic institution per se. Um, I also want to begin by saying that multidisciplinary research itself is a very discursive topic, right? And I want to make my position very clear as I begin. So, in the feminist ethos to situated knowledge, I want to begin by saying that I represent a decolonial feminist thought and theory from the standpoint of a woman from global south, despite the fact that I do work in the global north, but that remains to be my situatedness and my embodied scholarship. Now, to respond to this question around challenges, and you know that the feminist theory is also known as feminist critical pedagogy. Uh, the and you know I don't know how much time I have, but I'll try and take as little as possible. Uh, but uh, any attempt to respond to such a big question of challenges is likely to be responded in a sketchy manner because it's a very deep question. Now, I want to begin by talking about the key to multidisciplinary research if you are doing it from the standpoint of a feminist lens. And the first and the most prioritized thought process is that of intersectionality. And I will quote about some of the surveys and studies that we have been a part of or that we have known otherwise. And we know that intersectionality is a lens. It's a lens which helps you to see the world from the eyes of the most dispossessed person, and it varies according to the space and according to the context. So in India, it could be a Dalit disabled woman. In Canada, where I work, it's invariably the people who migrated or who were forced immigrants, who were the indigenous people who were robbed of their lands, and so it changes. And what I feel as the biggest challenge is that most of the researches which are interdisciplinary do not take into cognizance the plurality and the voices of the most dispossessed. It's invariably the voices of the loudest. And so, for example, during COVID, one of the contemporary surveys that I would like to quote, you had each country doing a smartphone survey, and smartphone survey is inherently very, very exclusionary because how many women and how many people from big precarious communities own smartphones? So, for instance, when you're talking about India, the people who are migrating, and India was in big name and being shamed on the way the immigrants who were invisible labor who were migrating, how many of them own smartphones to actually be able to record a response? And that's my first thought. So that so uh, as as a, a person who practices feminist critical pedagogy, the voice of the most dispossessed, as opposed to the people who have relative power, gets totally lost out. And that's where I feel that there is a very strong need to converge. The second thing that I want to talk about is epistemological diversity. We know that there is no one feminist way of doing. We don't live single access lives, so we don't have single access researches. So, how do you produce knowledge? And we see that, in that, my positionality as a decolonial feminist from the global south is very important, because you see researches that are conducted in the global north where there is a lot of extraction of knowledge that takes place. There is a lot of field work that takes place, but the research to a research, but to an action that evolves from it. It also becomes a process of critical consciousness. So, in academic jargon, what is a research? And in feminism, what is a research, are two very, very different things. And there is a need to bring the two together in terms of the ethics. Uh, so, in feminist pedagogy, as we call it, and we call it the feminist critical pedagogy, we say that we attempt to visibilize the invisible. So, the women's labor, the precarious labor, which has a very strong racialized character. It has a very strong gendered character, which is invariably invisible. So, if you look at the maquiladoras of Mexico, if you look at the garment workers of Bangladesh, and if you look at the nannies who come from Mexico and are probably working in Canada, or are working in the US, you will see that it has a very strong historicity, it has a very strong racialized and intersectional character, and that should not get lost as and when we do our researches. Now, the third thing that I want to talk about is knowledge production and the legitimacy of knowledge production, which is often made out to be in terms of quantitative and qualitative, and involves a lot of rigor. But in feminism, we pay a lot of heed to experiential knowledge, and I say that with a pinch of salt, maybe a tablespoon of salt, because each of our experience is very, very objective thing. It's something very situated in our own selves, and hence one has to take it with that pinch of salt about and respect it. So, the modes of knowledge production start with the experience of people and the experience of very, very precarious bodies, very, very docile female subjecthood, or intersectional subjecthood. And so they don't arise, the knowledge production does not arise from academic papers, it arises from the lives of people. And that's where, as and when we interact with people from the economist sector, which we do tend to do a lot, and it's also a very trending subject. As and when we interact with people from artificial intelligence, and one of your speakers before me was talking very beautifully about artificial intelligence. If you look at assemblage theory and the queer theory, and start questioning all the binaries, the value dualism, where does that leave us in terms of artificial intelligence? And we look at these theories being so performative in a sense that they constitute our social relations, and in fact they reinforce the inequality that exists. It's it usually happens that feminist theory gets left out, because you're trying to visibilize the invisible. You're trying to bring the subjecthood of the most dispossessed to the center. And hence, the last thing that I want to say in the initial remark is there has to be a profound engagement with power, with powerlessness, and integration of those theories from the eyes and the experiential situatedness embodiment of the most powerless people. Only once we start doing that can we really start talking about making researches multidisciplinary as far as a strong decolonial feminist angle is concerned. And I'm just going to stop here and listen to the other very, very esteemed panelists before I speak any further.
Thank you so much, Sarika ma'am, for putting it so beautifully. Over to Preeti ma'am, you're representing India.
Yes,
So,
yes.
go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
So, namaste and good afternoon from Mumbai. Thank you, Professor Dr. Laila ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. It's always my pleasure and privilege to get connected with BSSs, and we go a long way. And I fondly remember Father Doctor Principal's hospitality. Sir, a special thank you, and nice seeing you online today. Quickly going back to the question, as Laila ma'am has very clearly started the tone of the talk with the challenges. Let me position myself here. I'm a college principal of an affiliated college with the University of Mumbai. The university is a very direct product of the colonial India. 1857 is the establishment, having one of the largest affiliation kind of a network, maybe more than 900 colleges affiliated to the university. So I'm sure we understand the kind of volume and the kind of scale on which we all are operating here. Coming back to the question of multidisciplinary approach, let me put it in a little simple narrative here that we still are continuing a very strong and long legacy of colonial education, and in that period somewhere we have lost our own glorious past of Indian, I don't say knowledge system, I stick to only the Indian education system. So right from the days when we used to have the Gurukula and the Shishya kind of a system, Guru and Shishya. Shishya was not being offered or asked to select, as Professor Dr. Srivastava has very rightly pointed in the keynote address. It was a part and parcel of studying multiple subjects together right from the childhood. Somewhere down the line of history, we have lost that approach. We have started making things little narrowed down, and we have also started kind of making different verticals. So the kind of organic growth which we have started the Indian education system has actually, now when today we are taking it further, we are actually maybe addressing or being a part of specific verticals. The verticals are so strong now, and the interconnectedness is very much lost, that I'm sure Dr. Laila ma'am also will agree with me that the management, PhD in the management will not allow you to take up a job in a commerce college. Let us talk about that. Though commerce and management, they are taught together at the UG level and PG level, when we go a little above, when we go for the research, because now the topic today is again coming back to the research, there are policies, there are guidelines, there are GRs, and the government is, regularly updating when we are not able to take up a job in the academia if we are having the PhD in the management. I am talking about the current system. Somewhere down the line, to my esteemed panelists in India, the way I represent an affiliated college having a maximum student, maybe around 6 to 7,000 students, we have lost it somewhere down the line to the policies, and the policies were made with reference to continuation of what we used to have. 75 years Amrit Kal, which we have already entered for India, and thanks to NEP 2020, today we are talking about the multidisciplinary. I again go back to my question, what is the challenge? So, sir and madam, esteemed panelists, the challenge with us here today is not having a very good legacy and the results of multidisciplinary approach. We have not. So today, what we all, I'm sure we all will agree that we are using an 18th century curriculum with the help of the 20th century teachers, preparing the students to go for the 20th, 21st century. Also, we are raising the kind of children or the generation for the jobs which we have never heard about. So this is where the gap is. And I think, madam, the question from my opinion, my point of view, it is somewhere we are not able to fill that gap of our own ancient legacy which we are carrying forward, and maybe the future challenges which are very visible, not even on the horizon. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Preeti ma'am. Moving on to Dr. John Clammer. Sir, we would like to hear from you because you've been traveling across many countries. So, as a European, what is your thought process? And you have been associated with one of India's biggest university, which is the Jindal Group. So I want you to explain on certain areas of research and what are the challenges that you have come across. over to John Clammer. Certain areas of research and what are the challenges that you have come across. Over to John Clammer. Okay. I think there is some maybe technical glitch. He was there on board. Can we have Nadiza from Synergy? I think there is some maybe.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon again.
Yeah.
So I work at the most innovative private university, not in Moscow only, in the Russian Federation. So in additional to previous reports, I want to add something about these biggest challenges. No, for the current time, because in the past, yeah, it was the lack of funding for interdisciplinary programs and faculty trained in the interdisciplinary teaching. Many universities and mine measured interdisciplinary learning outcomes by by the oldest method. Yeah, it was the focus on exams, publications, mandatory publications, and for students, for master students programs. Yeah, for professors, mandatory subject matter certifications. Yeah, there were different infrastructure problems, but just now it's a project approach. Yeah, first of all, about the biggest challenge. Yeah, in this implementing and all these researchers. So these are different project teams with the students, with the teachers, with the tutors, even. Yeah, in different faculties. Yeah, with in different fields. Yeah, and from the first educational year, all students, yeah, and it's a mandatory task, must participate in different projects, internal, external, yeah, in order to provide these multidisciplinary researchers. Yeah, to study more, not in your field only, in some subfields. Yeah, they go to and meet with the different business persons, entrepreneurs. They visit their businesses. There are special master classes or some seminars, webinars with famous people or with experts from different fields. Yeah, it's at our university. Yeah. There is a special support of this interdisciplinary education, and the chief executive officer of our university, Vadim Lobov, supports all initiatives, all students, first of all, initiatives, no, as maybe smart initiatives, yeah, the smart projects, yeah, and it's a special fund. Including and modern technologies and special collaborative spaces, yeah, in our different campuses, yeah, because in Moscow only there are 7 campuses of our university, and no, I think. I think about this biggest challenge, yeah, project activity, yeah, in my university is number one, to make this to participate in these researches. Thank you very much for
Thank you
your
so much.
attention.
We are joined by Dr. John Clammer. We would like to hear from you, sir. Basically, as you've been associated with India and Europe, we would love to hear a comparative study of the challenges between these two countries.
Okay, thank you. I think once we start to talk about interdisciplinarity, the first thing we have to do is not so much learning, but kind of unlearning. I mean, probably all of us here on the panel were actually trained in a discipline. The concept of interdisciplinarity was there in the air somewhere. That's not actually how we were trained. And I think getting beyond those kind of boundaries that we kind of internalized as probably as graduate students is not easy. It's a personal challenge here to find those boundaries and overcome them, particularly because a lot of the academic infrastructure, despite all the talk, doesn't actually support this. And again, with this emphasis on publication, peer-reviewed publication, for example, I mean, some of us may have had this experience of sending a paper to a journal and it gets sent back. Nothing wrong with the paper. What's wrong is that they say, oh, this is not really whatever it is. You know, it's not really sociology. It's not really philosophy. It's not really political science. And it's very hard to find, therefore, the spaces to publish often where you can, in fact, find interdisciplinary work is actually welcomed. Meaning, not just the thing which I don't think really is interdisciplinary, which is, you know, we get students to take different kind of courses in different faculties or in different disciplines. Okay, that in itself, I don't think creates genuine interdisciplinarity. Genuine interdisciplinarity, like, it seems to me, is to actually overcome those kind of boundaries and to create new spaces in which genuinely cross boundary work is in fact possible, recognized, publishable, and in fact leads to the kind of important practical outcomes that Dr. Sinha was talking about. You know, this goes somewhere. Um, I think it's not only that all of us were probably trained in a discipline and have had to somehow kind of get beyond perhaps the kind of boundaries that were imposed on us at that time, but I think other speakers were hinting at this. Um, Most of us were also probably trained in a kind of metropolitan style of thinking. That is to say, whether we went to a European university, an American, Australian university, whatever, even if I'm a sociologist, okay, and even if you look at the nature of a lot of Indian sociology, what it's done is basically taken the categories of that kind of mainstream metropolitan sociology and reproduced them here. The difference has been, of course, the nature of the actual subject matter. I mean, the nature of the actual research, of course, is based here locally in the you know the society here. Okay, but that itself is a problem, I think, because it means that those categories migrate and they might be the wrong ones. Now, one of the possible ways for approaching this, in fact, would be to look into this notion of indigenous knowledge, knowledges which are not necessarily structured essentially around those kind of metropolitan models, but in the mainstream academy are actually not taken very seriously, but they probably should be. That's say, I mean, there are lots of worldviews out there. A lot of those worldviews have enormous knowledge about everything. I mean, about social structures, about ecology, about their relationship to nature, and so on. About the nature of their art, something interests me. And I think to generally explore those things and to understand indigenous knowledge as being, in principle, absolutely equal to metropolitan style knowledges, which most of us have been, for most of us, have been the framework we've worked, is a challenge. But I think that would be potentially one way to begin to think about moving beyond the narrow boundaries and actually finding ways of recasting our understanding of knowledge in ways which are much more universal, much more open, universal in one sense, but also much more local in actually recognizing the kind of wisdom and, you know, epistemological structures, if you like, that already exist out there, but are not recovered as part of mainstream knowledge production. They may be studied by anthropologists, for example, as something interesting to study, but that's not the same thing at all. Okay, what is important, I think, is to take them seriously as forms of knowledge, and perhaps that's one route we could follow to see where that might take us in, you know, recasting the way in which knowledge is produced. So, thank you. I'll stop there at that moment, at this moment, anyway. But I'm sure we'll come back to some of these questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. John Glamour. We're also joined by Dr. Teshume, and he's from Ethiopia, and he is a PG coordinator. What are the challenges do you face? Because you've been dealing with the PG students, so how much is the depth of research at your university, and what are the major challenges at your end?
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you very much for this conference, especially Professor Japi. I have great respect for his recommendation on sharing of knowledge, especially on transforming knowledge in mathematical research in interactive learning across discipline. And thank you very much, Professor Leila Simon, for the coordination, all members of the organizer for the conference, and esteemed panelists and scholars. So, as stated earlier, my name is Tushome from Ethiopia. I'm at Adigrad University. I am the coordinator for postgraduate, especially on business and economics. There are different programs, MBA program, accounting and finance programs, logistics, and tourism. These are the postgraduates that are delivered in our college. So it is public university that Adigrad University among those public university. So regarding the multidisciplinary research that we are facing, especially in our Ethiopian case, one thing which is there is some administrative tackles. There are some lack of collaboration among those stakeholders, especially those who provides of a fund, those who provides a resource for the student, even for staff or academics. By the way, in Ethiopia, the instructors or the professors in university do have offered a duty of teaching, research, and community service. So among those duty is one is a research. Then the research itself can have a contribute for the students or postgraduate in guiding especially and real research conducting. So one thing that I stated is administrative tackles are there and communication barriers within the department, especially of at the communication barrier that is language barriers. There are different disciplines. So to coordinate of at those discipline, there may be of at some concept defining problems. And we have also a problem on implementing or disseminating of the research to the society, especially those who providing of the research by academicians, not only by postgraduate. And every year, there will be offered a research that are provided by the academicians, a small research grant, medium research grant, and large research grants. So those research grants are difficulty, especially on disseminating offer for the society. So we are facing offer only conducting of a research. The output is not disseminated to the society. That is the very challenging aspect of it in the multidisciplinary research, especially conducted by our staffs, even by the postgraduate followers as well. Okay. The other thing in related to my institution, there are some learning, especially pedagogy in postgraduate. We following OFAT, organized curriculum, which is national organized curriculum by Ethiopian institution. So that will be easy for students, for instructors to follow OFAT, the curriculum that are harmonized in national way. And we follow OFAT inquiry-based learning, which is the student-centered learning we follow. And we have offered project-based learning, case study learning. Those are the good things that we have in pedagogical approach in multidisciplinary across the departments. So finally, I can summarize off at my B point. If there is some questions, I can explain off at the detail on our cases. So I will close off at my pointers by saying off at let's work together to create a dynamic ecosystem that foster interdisciplinary learning, research-driven innovation, and enhances our society impact. So, saying off at this one, I will close my points that I advise related to my country. Thank you very much again for the organizers and the
so much, Teshome. And this is a question open, I think, because most of them have put up their views for most of the answers. So this one special question, and I think we would one or two questions. It would be put forth on the general on a common platform, and anybody who would want to can answer to this. Because we are into this AI generation. The question goes as: do you feel the shift of AI based research is a level player, or has it widened the gap between the haves and the have-nots? Because AI has been, growing, and it's becoming very difficult for us as who's been in the digital native, and talk about the digital migrants or immigrants and all these terms. How do we place ourselves, and what are the challenges? You agree to this smart way of AI generated research based projects. Anybody can open up, it's an open platform. Yeah, over to anyone on the panel.
Hmm.
Yes, Johnson.
I mean, I think this is probably a problem. In a way, I suspect we can't really answer the question. That we're struggling with it now because we're also learning where this is going to go. And as Sister said in her talk earlier, I mean, it is partly a question of balance, right? Um, Not being overwhelmed by this, and there's so much hype about AI, displacing almost everything. Um, what effect it's going to have on creativity in particular is probably a problem that a lot of us ought to be very, very concerned about. You know, whether it can in fact replace genuine human ability to produce art, ideas, original ideas, and this kind of stuff. I mean, I think those of us who've used it at all have found it's enormously useful in a technical way. I mean, remember the days when if you were trying to create a bibliography for a paper or a book, it would take you an awfully long time to hunt for that literature, and AI can often do this for you in minutes, work that would have taken you months in the past. So I think most of us are probably struggling to find what is that balance, and indeed to address that question of fairness. I mean, not only in the digital divide in society as a whole, but even amongst our students, you know, that they vary they're not all really super digital. I mean, a lot of them struggle still with managing these kind of new technologies. And I think we have to take that into account at all. We can't assume the same kind of level of ability to use this. Um, and we're going to have to work with it because I think this actually will be one of the big challenges for anybody in higher education in the next decade.
Yes, ma'am. I guess Preeti ma'am has something to say.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, because this becomes so interesting when we are talking about, and you have given us two words, I guess, Ms. Laila ma'am, that digital natives and digital immigrants. And yes, we are digital immigrants, most of us, and dealing with the digital natives. But that is again a challenge for us, those who are imparting that kind of information or knowledge or education. And when I go back to the question that should we be scared of this AI? I think let us go a little bit back into maybe 25, 30 years of our life, and then we check 1995. Between 1995 and 2005 is the time, and I'm talking with reference to the Indian academia or maybe the India as a kind of a demographic here. We have started getting internet, www, what we call today, or maybe the networks or the data. What is the word we can? We easily interchange these words. But that was the time of 10 years when we all have gradually started getting it, learning it, maybe conscious effort or by default it was given to us. That was another time when the same question was raised at many academic platforms like this. Should we be scared of the internet? Should we be scared of Google? Should we be scared of data, networking? And I think the similar kind of deliberations were happening across the platforms. And then we survived it. With a little bit trial and error, we have survived, we have grown, we have outgrown, we have accepted, and that has become a part of our regular life. Similar thing, in my personal opinion, AI is not scary. AI is a way of life. We have to take it in a structured formulation. Is I mean it is not good in the academia to use it in this uncensored quote unquote form, but if we make it a part of our entire study, how to teach them systematically the pros and cons and the ethical aspects of it, or the the other aspects of it. I guess AI is something which is already there. Let us not deny. Let us streamline it. Let us structure it, and let us grow with it. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, ma'am. I am just with you for what you have said. Sarika Sinha, ma'am, you raised your hand, so please go ahead with it. So because
Thank
we are, yeah, yes,
I
ma'am.
know. I just wanted to begin by saying that, I kind of resonate in what my two predecessors have said, and they have said it beautifully. I'm at a point in time when we are now looking at applications which come from across the globe, but you cannot track their addresses. And so you know that it's an application that has been generated by the AI. So I'm not going to get into plagiarization and other things that AI has been doing. I think both Professor Clammer and Dr. Oza spoke about it and did it very beautifully. I wanted to raise a different aspect of AI, and which is about a study that we are in midst of, which is about looking at cyborgs. Okay, and the theoretical notion for transcending the boundary between a human and something which is a cybernetic organism, so not really a human, and how that foregrounds a body, right? So how do you uh, look at the intersection of human and non-human? And there is a lot that is being written about it of late in terms of its theory. uh, there is a lot that is being written about, there were already binaries pre-existing. And that's where I again quote feminist critical pedagogy in terms of, the heart and the mind. The mind always has a superiority over the heart, according to the so-called economic structures. But there is a very strong feminist deconstruction of technology which we need to understand, and how it also is used to raise a very docile subject. So you look at Alexa, you look at Siri. I'm just not talking, not just about the AI technology in academics, but you look at the silicon dolls that come, and who are these dolls for, and who is the consumer of them. So there's a further invisibilization of the precarious people and precarious bodies, and that manipulation and exploitation of affective economies is being enhanced through the technology of AI, and that is very important that we consider that. And I'm just going to stop here.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarika, ma'am, adding more to what we hearing, and it was very nice hearing you. Anybody else would want to? Yeah, Teshom, as you want to say something, you raised your hand, Teshom.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
I want to say something on AI.
yeah.
I think the good thing that already stated by previous panelists, and I would like to say something, especially on the limitation side of the AI. I fear that there may be some potential hindering, especially on critical thinking and problem solving of at scale on staff and student. This is one that I am fearing on AI. And there may be offered a differences on teachers and student relationship. There may be offered not tight relationship if they use it offered AI between the teachers and students. And there may be offered a lot of things, especially on plagiarism ways that are faced by the student. If they are not carefully offered using offered the AI. Generally, it has a potential, especially significant in transforming offered fields and aspects of human lives by enhancing offered capability, automatic tasks, and providing new insights through data analysis. But it is development and application of what this AI must be carefully managed to address and ethically concern and ensure responsible use with the focus of at human AI collaboration rather than of at complete replacement of at human intelligence. So generally, we will use of at AI carefully the pony and what ponies offered, the technology. So that is I am going to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I think it was indeed really a very appreciable to see that the esteemed panelists have been diving into to put forth your unique perspectives and experience from these various domains. Really worth appreciating because though we had a lot of questions, but I think somewhere or the other they were all taken into consideration. Thank you so much. And I think Dr. John Glamour, you're there. Do you want to say something so that we conclude and then we finish it off? Or anybody for that matter on the panel, if you have something to conclude, we are open to you.
Well, I certainly have one idea, and I'm very sorry that Dr. Sarika has had to leave because she was the one who initiated this. I found that the really interesting ideas often come from the margins, not from the kind of center of more conventional academic institutions and work. And that we should listen to those kind of voices. They may come from feminism, they may come from indigenous people, they may come from ecologists and so on. And these things should not be excluded, even if they're methodologically and so on at this moment. We don't think this is really, the rigorous stuff and that kind of thing. There's a lot of wisdom floating around out there, and I think we should be alert to that. We should be prepared to draw on it, and we should be humble enough to listen to those kind of voices because they have a lot to teach us. We should be alert to that.
Yeah, thank you so much. Preeti ma'am, would you want to add up something for the concluding verses?
Yes, my dear friend John Clever has rightly put it that let us go to margin, let us not roam around just in the center. And I think with the NEP, since last almost 3 years, this is the fourth year, and we are on the right track. Let us have faith in our revised new policies because it is the time to just maybe next 2 3 years down the line, it is time for us to see the results. And things are changing very fast. We are on the threshold of a lot of new things, and then now from here, the direction will decide where we will end up in maybe next 5 to 10 years. So India, with all these new changes and challenges, let us hope and wish and pray and work that we are on the right track. And maybe multidisciplinarity will be a part and parcel of our entire curriculum. And maybe let us hope that we will not require this kind of a platform to discuss about it. Let us just make it a part of our regular curriculum. That's it. Thank you.
Hopefully, I'm there with you with all thoughts that it will happen definitely because we are academicians. At the end of the day, we are all for the same common cause. Thank you so much for being such a wonderful panelist, and it was we have learned much more and explored much more than we actually expected, and you've been so participative. Thank you so much one and all for joining. We'd also request you to join us for the validity session tomorrow. We'll be sharing the links. It will be very kind of you all to be part of that. Thank you so much once again from this side of the management, the whole committee of the conference. It's a huge, huge, huge thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Everyone on the board. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
It's a huge, huge, huge thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Laila.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
This conference is a celebration of collaboration and knowledge sharing, and we look forward to the engaging sessions even in the tracks tomorrow. There are 5 tracks, and I'm sure that communications have been made in all the tracks. We look forward to the presentations, to the insightful presentations tomorrow. So the communications are there on all the tracks, and we hope to see you all on board tomorrow. Let's make this international conference a truly transformative experience. With this, I wish you all a great learning, unlearning, and relearning. Thank you so much for joining us for this inaugural session. Thank you so much. With this, I wish you all a great learning, unlearning, and relearning. Thank you so much for joining us for this inaugural session. Thank you so much.